everybody. My name is LD Lane Means, and our new nugget today comes from Psalms 46:1, and it reads as thus: God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And I want you, after I finish, to go back and to reread this particular Psalms and finish it, because everything that follows in the verses following verse 1 hang on verse 1. The psalmist reminds us that though the earth be removed and though the mountain be carried into the midst of the sea, God is still our refuge and our strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. He also reminds us that though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, and though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. There's a word that precedes that particular verse. It says Selah. And that word Selah means to pause. And that's what I want you, saints of God, to do, to pause and to remember that God is our refuge and our strength. He is a very present help in the time of trouble. When you don't understand why you're going through what you're going through, just remember that God is your refuge. He's your strength. He is a very present help in the time of trouble. When we're in the place of sheltering in place and you begin to feel like you're all alone, remember that God is your refuge and your strength. He is a very present help in the time of trouble. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you're fearful, remember that God is your strength. He's your refuge. He is a very present help in the time of trouble. When you turn on the radio and you turn on the television and you begin to hear the bad news of the previous day, of the deaths that have transpired from that previous day, just remember that God is still your refuge. He's still your strength. He's still a very present help in the time of trouble. And for those of you that have lost loved ones and know somebody that has lost loved ones and you can't even grieve in a normal manner, just remember that God is your refuge, that He's your strength, and that He is a very present help in the time of trouble. Those of you that still have to go out and continue to work in the midst of all that is going on, uncertain of those that are around you that may contain the virus, remember that God is your refuge. He is your strength, and that He is a very present help in the time of trouble. And when you look to those that are supposed to have the answers and they don't have the answers, just remember that God has the answers. Look to Jesus, for He is your refuge. He is your strength, and He is a very present help in the time of trouble. Saints of God, don't panic. But remember that word, pause, that word Selah. Remember to pause and remember that God is your refuge, that He is your strength, that He is a very present help in the time of trouble. And saints of God, even as you go through the remainder of this day, you're going to encounter people that experience all that I've mentioned. They're experiencing hopelessness and helplessness. And this is the time that you can share the word of God and allow them to know that God is a refuge. He is our strength. He is a very present help in the time of trouble. Remind them that God will never leave them, that He will never forsake them. Remind them that He's a God that can do exceedingly abundantly above all that they can ask or think. Saints of God, may the Lord dwell with you richly, and may you look to God for all that you need. Allow Him to wrap His loving arms around you and allow Him to remind you and assure you that He is your refuge. He is your strength. He is your very present help in the time of trouble. Look up, saints of God, and live.